I am not about to minimize who I am. I don't want to build anybody else's empire anymore. I like helping people build it, but I just have to have the courage to go, you know what? Everything that everybody else is doing, I can do it too, because I'm already doing it. I'm building their businesses.
Are you ready to get on the board? Welcome to the Get Off Go podcast. I've got my brothers, as usual, here with me, Sean Jones and Joe Ha, and we're here to share our stories and the stories of others who are just getting up and going, whether that's in business, whether that's in personal growth, and beyond. So before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Riverside FM, our go-to crystal clear podcasting program with studio quality audio, 4K video, and easy editing. So it is a game changer for podcasters aiming for professional grade content so we can engage more and stress less. You guys know that I'm in the content game, and this makes everything completely easier. So check out riverside.fm for an unmatched podcast experience. The link is right there in the description of the video. It should be somewhere down here. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to us, and we want to make sure that you guys get all of the notifications. So today, we are chatting with Tanya Van Rickley. She is a powerhouse in leadership coaching and business strategy, and she's not just helping real estate agents become hobbyists and turning them into pros, but she's also a certified John Maxwell leadership coach and a D.I.S.C assessment communication specialist, or D.I.S.C communication specialist. Did I say that correctly, Tanya?
Yes.
Awesome. But more importantly, none of that would have been possible. She is a Widowmaker survivor, so we're going to tap into that a whole lot. And I would love to just take your story and just let the masses hear it. So thank you so much for being with here. Thank you for being with us today, Tanya. I appreciate it.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Let me add, I'm not only a Widowmaker survivor, I am an Ironman triathlete who survived the Widowmaker.
I'm going
Okay.
to definitely get into that because I've been doing Tanya's content here for just over a year, and matter of fact, like there's been some content where she went to the building where she actually had the surgery, and I think it was a year later or like X number of months later, and
Yeah.
she's out there
Nice.
smiling in front of the building, which is
Nice.
amazing. She's journaling on the beach and all of that right there. So yeah, tell us a little bit about you. Like, I would love to kind of start with the Widowmaker, if you don't mind, just like jumping right into that. I mean, because that without that story, like I truly believe like that's what makes your story outside of all of your other accolades, because she's got certifications and accolades galore. But the Widowmaker is something that really sets her apart because we were just talking about it. Like, she's a walking miracle, the fact that she's here today. And that's just not, those aren't just words that she says. That's verbatim from her doctors. Yeah. So yeah, please explain.
Well, I am 49 years old. I'm an athlete. Sometimes I'm a better athlete than, better than I once was. Right. And so I've always been, into sports and, captain of high school basketball teams. Then I went to the Ironman. I did the Ironman, which was 140.6 miles. Then I got into Go Ruck, and Go Ruck is GORUCK. They are special forces events where you do 12 and 24-hour events. You show up, a special forces Green Beret, a Navy SEAL, somebody in special ops basically smokes you. And what smokes you means they basically tell you what to do, yell at you, make you do push-ups, make you cry, and all that. And so all these years I've been doing these events up until actually up until 1 month before I was diagnosed with the Widowmaker. I was doing these events. I did a 12-hour one. I did a 24-hour one. And something was wrong. Like, I was slow. I was always really slow. Like when I did my Ironman, 140.6 miles, so 2.2 mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, and a 26.2-mile marathon. And I was literally 19 minutes from DQing, which was, almost 17 hours. And I just thought all of this time that I'm slow, like I just suck. I actually just need to do more. right? I need to lose weight. I need to do more. I need to be more. I need to train more. Well, when I went to go to get a routine checkup, heart checkup, they asked me, do you want a heart scan, or do you want a stress test, or do you want an MRI? So I ended up getting the MRI and came back from vacation. They were like, yeah, we kind of know why you suck. Right? You're just slow. Why you're slow? You have a backwards heart. So I have a 0.02% anomaly where my heart is kind of backwards a little bit, and I have an artery in the very back, which created, I have a really small, narrow artery that created turbulent blood flow and an angle at the main. And if anybody knows what the Widowmaker is, it's true to its name. The Widowmaker is, mainly men die of the Widowmaker, but the Widowmaker basically kills people. You should be dead. Most of the time you die and you don't even know about it. And so I had about 85% blockage, and didn't even know it. I'm here doing these endurance events. And when they went to actually look at my report, they said, we didn't find any information on this because you're the athlete that dies at the marathon. The people that we have found on this are dead, right? They're pathology reports. So anyways, fast forward, they tell me you need to go get a heart cath. I go to get a heart cath where they basically stick a scope in your artery, and they look, and then I'm done, and I tell my son to pick me up, and the doctor walks in and he says, it's your lucky day. He goes, you have the Widowmaker. You have 85% blockage. You will not live more than 5 years, and you will die of a heart attack. And I'm like, yo, like, I know you must not be talking to me. Like, how is that possible? Because I just finished a 24-hour fitness event. I just finished a 12-hour fitness event. And as a matter of fact, that weekend, I had an event called the CHAD, which is 1,000 step-ups to raise money for PTSD and suicide awareness for veterans. And I looked at my doctor and I said, okay, well, that's cool. Like, he goes, you're going to have double bypass surgery tomorrow or next week. I'm like, well, can I finish that event this weekend? He's like, you don't understand. You don't understand. You will die. What you have, people die of endurance, and you have something that's going to kill you. So anyway, so that's the Widowmaker. I ended up having surgery a week later, and actually my doctor, my boyfriend was with me, and he goes, doc, if she gets this fixed, will she feel better? He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. She's not going to feel better. She has to do this to save her life. So every day, going back to the miracle, I went to, double bypass. They stop your heart. They put you on a heart and lung machine. You essentially die and come back to life. They came in every day and said, you're healing really well. It's miraculous you're still here. And you're healing really well. It's miraculous you're still here. So I had another chance for a life reset. And that's kind of my brand. It's your lucky day and a life reset, because it was my lucky day that most people aren't that lucky, and most people don't get as many life resets as I have had.
Oh,
Wow.
That's amazing.
If you suck, I'm a real POS. Those numbers sound pretty impressive to me.
I'm strong as hell, but I was like, I don't know. I'm an Islander girl. I'm Guamanian. It's because this booty is just big
Okay.
and it's just weighing me down. And it just turned out I had a heart problem.
That's amazing. So you would have never known if you so the reason why, and I'm assuming the reason why they call this the Widowmaker is because most people are not as active as you. They're not taking, they don't know their body that much, right? They're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just tired today. Fill it with coffee and whatever it may be. But you're in tune with your body enough to understand that, hey, something's just off, right? I almost got DQ'd by 19 minutes, and usually I'm breaking records. So yeah, I mean, what would you say for somebody in that respect? Like how uncommon is the Widowmaker, or is it more unnoticed?
It's more unnoticed, and only 4% of the people die of the Widowmaker, right? But I think, being an athlete, when you know your body, and, I have a saying called move more to be more. Life is hard, right? Running a business is hard. Relationships are hard. It's like choose your heart, right? And the move more to be more is I've always moved my body. So I know when my body's not operating. Of course, I was 47 at the time, I'm 49 right now. And it's like, yeah, I'm getting older and getting, you know, uh, premenopausal and that kind of thing. But, I work and move so that I can keep up with my kids and so I can be a badass, right?
Yeah.
Like I might not be the fastest, but I like to do badass kind of things. And by doing badass things, and it kind of goes with this podcast, is if you don't get off go, you never know if you're ever going to be a badass, right? So, for example, with my Ironman, going back to that, when we were training, there were a lot of people that didn't want to do it because they weren't going to PR or they thought they were going to fail. And I did it because I thought, you know what? I'm going to suck. But I don't know if I'm going to finish unless I get started. Like, I don't even freaking know what I'm capable of. And like relating to like business and this podcast in general, like, you know what? We don't know if we're a certified badass, right? The only way you can become a badass is you do hard things. So, like, for example,
Yep.
my brothers are both retired Green Berets. And people would say, Tanya, my brothers would say, Tanya, if you weren't a boy, you'd be a Green Beret. Because they're like, you're paying $500 to do a 140.6 mile race. Like, we get paid for that shit. We're not paying for that stuff. So anyways, the thing is I get texts from them all the time and they go, remember, we're from the same blood. We do hard things. We don't let the bull crap stop us. So, I would have never known that I had the Widowmaker. Actually, let me take that back. I probably would have known that I had the Widowmaker probably maybe in my 60s or 70s. But because I pushed my body and I pushed my mind so much, I actually saved my life by my lifestyle because they said that my lifestyle saved my life, but I accelerated the disease in my heart. So I don't have heart disease, but I did have the Widowmaker because I just pushed myself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I've been in the gym and kind of working out since I was 16. I think what happened to me was I got done with high school wrestling and I kind of realized that I was never going to be able to take it to college. And I needed something to fill my time. And like, I was super self-conscious about how I looked in a tank top. Right. And so I was like, dude, I just want to be able to walk around and feel comfortable and look good in a tank top. And I started going to the gym. And like, as the gym transformed over years and as it's kind of become this new thing in my life, it becomes my baseline. Right. So I know that if I'm in the gym and I'm going there 4 or 5 days a week and I'm doing the things that come along with the gym, whether that be the sauna, the steam, the hot tub, the stretching, all that stuff, the taking care of myself. Like, I know when I'm taking care of that part of my life, a lot of other things kind of start to fall in place. So my question for you is, like, you're doing all these things and you're finding all this peace inside your life. And like, that's something that you're holding to your core because obviously it's a part of your family and it's a part of you and you identify with that a lot. And I think that this situation might have taken a little bit of that from you. And what was that recovery process like? And how did that feel? Because it's the thing that maybe you would lean on, which should be your athletics, right? It's just all of a sudden gone. So what did that look like for you in your life?
Well, it was a scary process. I was 47 years old and now I have to, while I did have life insurance and I still do, you have to talk to your 21-year-old son. At the time he was 19. My daughter was maybe, I think she was 21. You're basically going over your wishes with them, right? So it's mental turmoil. It's mental warfare. I had to say, you know what? I've lived a great life, right? Of course you're going to cry, but what I want you to do is I want you to take my ashes, take them everywhere, actually have a playlist. I want you to roast the crap out of me at my funeral, right? And have happy birthday because we're just a family of roasters, right? I was like, just roast me, right? And then just go do your thing. And so we made fun of it. But going into bypass surgery the night before, I wasn't sure what my financial picture was going to look like. I wasn't sure if I was going to be incapacitated. I wasn't sure. I had a boyfriend at the time. I was like, he's probably not going to want to be with me because now I'm a heart patient. Now I'm disabled, right?
Yeah.
So I had to really think about a lot of that stuff. And then my brothers, and this is going to be raw, and this is new. I've never really said this on air, maybe once, but I have webbed toes. And so my brothers would
Me
say,
too.
shut up.
2 of them, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, they were, when I was doing my will, they said, hey, can you make sure we're in your will and can you donate your web toes to Ripley's Believe It or Not so we can have lifetime membership? And like, this is the kind of thing that's happening right before I'm going into surgery. So the recovery, it was awful. So the recovery process it was hard because my heart was never operating. They said I was probably born with 40% blockage. My heart was never operating at full capacity. So I felt this like flowing like river of blood. And so, you know what? It was physically, I recovered really fast. Within 12 weeks, I was snowboarding when I wasn't really cleared to do that because what happens with heart surgery, they saw your sternum open and then they wire it together. And then I had my artery taken out of my arm. So if I fell, you have one chance to heal, right? Otherwise you have to have open heart surgery again, or you have to have surgery again. So I was snowboarding, and then I did like a 12-hour ruck. But the biggest part was, are people going to see me as strong, right? Are people going to view me as weak? And I actually lost 90% of my business. I'm a coach. I lost 90% of my business when I went into heart surgery because people are like, why does she want to coach me? She's sick, right? But yeah. I'm a believer. And I do, by the way, it's your lucky day. When my doctor said it's your lucky day, I went and looked it up in the Bible. And it says, it's your lucky day, Mark 10:49. It's your lucky day, get up. Literally came home from that appointment and basically going back, I just lost my train of thought a little bit. So just, I do believe that me losing all of that business gave me a time to heal, right? I really didn't get a chance to heal just because of insurance and stuff, but I had to rebuild. I lost everything and I had to rebuild, and again, another life reset. And I basically was like, I posted on Facebook, like, guess what? Tanya 2.0, look out. You thought I was a force to be reckoned with then? It's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so on this podcast specifically, we ask all of our guests these 5 questions, and I think this is like a good transition spot for that. What is one piece of advice that you would give somebody who knows that they're destined for more, right? Like you were talking a little bit earlier about, some people don't know that they're destined for more because they never push themselves to something. What would you say for the people that know that they're destined for more but just kind of feel stuck on go?
So this is going to be very simple. If people know they're destined for more, one, they just need to get started. And the first thing I say, it's the physical. Go sign up for something hard. Go sign up for a 5K, or even if you're going to walk it, go sign up for something physically challenging to get you to prepare yourself for the mental challenge, right? Because when you do that, it prepares yourself. The other thing I believe is you need your tribe, right? You need the right tribe. A lot of us aren't born into the right families. We're not born into the right rooms. We're not born into the right environments. And, you're the sum total of your environment when you're adulting, not your friends, right? And so you have to have a tribe that actually is pushing themselves, because if you're around people that aren't pushing themselves, if you're around people that aren't leaders or people that aren't willing to fail, then you're going to be complacent. So you basically have to find your tribe. And I'm going to say, BJ, you and Social Proof, like you guys have really in the last year, I've always woken up, like I always know that I'm destined for more, but I also am proud of myself, right? Like I know that I'm doing something good, but it's fun when you have people that confirm that, right? So you and Social Proof have been good. So I would say get in the right rooms, right? If they know they're destined for more, the thing is, you don't have to just start one thing and stop it. There's a book called The Dip. Like you got to know when to quit. And there's some things you're like, I should be doing this. And then you're like, oh no, that is not me. Like, I'm not feeling the energy. I'm not feeling the passion. I don't even like the people I'm working with. So it's okay to quit, know when to quit, know when to pivot. But I do believe that you're getting off go and knowing like where you should be. It's your passion. It's like, where does your passion go? Your energy flows where your energy goes.
I love that. I love that because I'm a big believer in and I know you're the same way because Tanya will text me at 11:30 and she's an hour ahead of me, right? She'll text me at 11:30 at night and she'll just be like, hey, I'm working this weekend, right? Like we're all business owners, we get it, but I'm a big believer that what if it doesn't serve you, you're not going to get energized by this. But like what I do for a living, I could do it for hours, and my friends know that. And like everybody I talk to is like, man, that's really unhealthy with how much you work. But like, I love what I do. Like, you hate your job. Yeah, who are you to tell me that?
I love working. I would rather work than go out drinking.
There's a time for that too, but like I'm in grind mode right now. I'm in grind mode right now. Like there's nothing, and like my circle of friends, like we've got this saying of like, what are we celebrating? There's nothing to celebrate yet. I'm not where I want to be. Right. So until then, I'm in grind mode, and same thing with Sean, same thing with Joe. Like we don't go out much. We're not partiers. We're focused on one mission. But to kind of like get back to what I was saying,
I like to go out and drop it like it's hot sometimes, but
I would.
Oh, I like to drop it like it's hot sometimes too.
Yeah. Joe can twerk.
I have to remember how old I am.
But like at the end of the day, if it doesn't, it will not like everything can physically exhaust you. That's just energy. But if you're mentally exhausted from it, it's probably not what you're supposed to be doing. Right?
Yeah.
Like when I was doing music, I could sit in the studio for 15, 16 hours, and Sean can attest to that. I'll stay in that studio all day because it was something I enjoyed doing, and to the point where honestly I would forget to eat. That it's like, oh wait, I haven't eaten today. I gotta go do something. I should probably get some brain food in me, right? But I think that's a great point. And you had mentioned something earlier, and I'll give the floor to Sean and Joe in just a second. But you had mentioned like just being in the right rooms. It's so crazy that you said that because that was like my prophetic word this year was rooms. I've spent just like this is the year that I turned 30. So and I kind of like. I'm self-aware enough to know that I've messed up a lot in my 20s, right? And for people who are in their early 20s, that's your time to just fall on your ass, fail as much as possible, and just go try everything. But what I realized was I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, but I was doing it in the wrong rooms. I always knew that I was destined for something, but I was just spending time in the wrong rooms that were never going to get me anywhere with people that were never going to get me anywhere. And people that were not didn't have my best interest in mind, and just being aware of those who were able to call me on my BS, the ones who were able to call me and just be like, hey, you said that, holding me accountable to my own goals, right? Like, hey, man, when I was doing Forex a whole lot, the house that Sean's in, we are in that's the Arizona Grindhouse. There are how many people in there? Six others just like him who are after the same mission. And it's hard to be in a house grinding, or it's hard to be the lazy one in a house full of people working hard every single day, right? So and Sean is in the right room, right? Until he moves to Idaho. I've been kind of trying to put that into fruition.
I mean, yeah, the bright room is definitely the place, and Brent, you've been talking about that ever since we kind of reconnected, and we don't really go out a lot, and us three kind of are on FaceTime or Zoom a lot, Riverside, And I see what's happening, we're rubbing shoulders with the right people, and there's a lot of big things happening besides this podcast, especially like the real estate investing and everything else that we're building outside of this. And yeah, I totally would agree with that. Yeah.
And one thing that I've really learned from Tanya, and just to give Tanya her accolades, like my business wouldn't be anywhere without Tanya. Tanya was my first conversation. She was my first client. And then she put me in touch with Ashley. And Ashley put me in touch with Peggy, who we had on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
And that just put me in the right rooms. And you just don't know. Like sometimes just like saying yes to opportunities is the best way to go. And I hope Tanya knows that I'm grateful for that. Tanya, I hope you know I'm grateful for that.
Oh my God. I feel like I keep trying to figure out how to give back to you. I'm like, I feel like I need to give more to you. But I mean, the accolades to also is your mom. You know, your mom and I met, we just knew we needed to connect, right? And so
Yeah.
I believe that was a divine thing too.
Yeah, and my mom was one of Tanya's client. Was my mom your client first, or did it start off as like a friendship, or how did that work out?
She became one of my clients after meeting her.
Yeah, we're all islanders, so we kind of just connect on that level. Like, oh, you're an islander. Me too.
No, well,
Me too. Especially like Guamanians and Filipinos are like we're almost the same.
Exactly.
We're almost the same. Yeah.
So I see, I don't know. I see, there's just so many areas of your life that you have everything kind of dialed and connected, right? Whether it be from like the Go Ruck stuff to the business stuff to the amazing story of making it through the Widowmaker. And there's just, I don't know, there's a lot going on, but I also heard you say something that kind of struck me, and it was the Bible quote that you brought up. You know what I mean? And that thing that you read. So you obviously have some kind of spiritual life. And I wanted this to kind of lead into the second question that we have, which is where you share a pivotal moment that you felt stuck on go in your life, and kind of like, how did you maybe move past that? And I want to, like, if we can try and focus the question, I wanted to try and focus it maybe towards a time in your life when you weren't where you are now. You know what I mean? Maybe you didn't have the success in business. Maybe you didn't have the clients. Maybe you hadn't built up to yourself to the woman that you are today. Like before you had gotten to that point when you had that feeling in yourself that you were worth more, you were more valuable, and maybe you hadn't taken that leap yet. Like, how did you move off of that level? And what did that look like for you?
Well, first, I just want to preface that I am not anywhere near where I want to be.
Yeah.
Right. I'm successful in a lot of ways, like a defining success. Everybody has a definition of success. Financially, success, I have held myself back a little bit so I could serve other people.
Nice.
And so I could build and coach slowly, right? I prefer to do it organically and slowly. And then now I'm pivoting. But the answer to that question is, you know, what was the defining moment? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, like even just like I don't know, like a pivotal moment before maybe your business had taken off in such a way, or like a pivotal moment maybe when you were a little younger, when you just had this feeling in you that you were destined for greatness, or whatever that feeling, whatever that calling was for you, and kind of the moves you took, and the way you got your self-confidence to believe in your dream, and kind of where it took you from there.
Well, first and foremost, it's, you know, my brothers, right? My brothers are my heroes.
Yeah.
They're special forces, Green Berets. You know, when you have people in your family that are doing really significant things, you know, there's a quote that says, do you want to be a wandering generality or a meaningful specific, right? And the thing is that has always pushed me to be better, because I want to make them proud. I want to make our name proud. The other thing is, you know, I made a decision for a life reset that changed my life, changed my son's life, changed my daughter's life. I knew I am like a master of change, right? A lot of people are like, Tanya, you're so courageous. And I had a book that I was writing called Courageous Confidence. And you have to have courage to one, believe in yourself, right? But my son, I walked in on a suicide attempt when he was in 9th grade in 2017. And it wasn't one that you were just faking it, trying to, you know, get attention, right? You should probably be dead 2 times over. And I basically said, you know what? We're going to do a life reset. We're going to move to Colorado from San Diego. And we're going to have the courage to leave all of our hundreds of family members, everything we've ever known. And I'm going to put you into a Christian environment. And we're going to do a life reset for you. We're going to do nature over nurture.
Let's go.
And so nature over medication, right? And that saved his life, like surfing and nature and snowboarding saved his life. But that was the moment that has defined today's moment.
Let's go.
Because my brand, it's your lucky day, and the life reset blueprint, it was born from my son's suicide attempt. because I told him, I go, you know what? You're not going to be defined by this. You are going to, this is going to be your story. And he goes, you know what, Mama, this was your life reset too. Fast forward, I had to go to, I became an empty nester and I had to reset again, right? And that was another moment where, you know what? I can keep defining who I am and become the 2.0 version, the 3.0 version. And then I had, you know, the Widowmaker. And then I also got laid off, by the way. I got laid off. I got recruited to be a national team leader recruiter. I got laid off during COVID and I had no business. But I guess what I had? I had certifications. I had courage. I had the confidence to get on video. I'll tell you right now, video has changed my life. Nobody would know who I was if I didn't get on video. And most of the time, I'm not even making any sense. I usually have a trucker hat on. Right? I'll have a trucker hat on. I'll look tore up. But I have a God-given gift, and there's your spiritual gift. And my gift is encouraging, speaking, leading. I was captain of my sports teams in high school. And then ever since then, I've always been a leader. But I am not even close to the impact that I want to make. So his suicide attempt, divorce after 23 years, and reinventing myself in a new town, new jobs, new cities. And then now I just moved back to Colorado after my heart surgery because I have a second chance of life. And like, I am not about to minimize who I am. I don't want to build anybody else's empire anymore. I like helping people build it, but I just have to have the courage to go, you know what? Everything that everybody else is doing, I can do it too, because I'm already doing it. I'm building their businesses.
I love that. And I can certainly attest to that as well. Like, Tanya is, she is, the fact that we have her here right now and she's not out running somewhere is a blessing within itself. Like every time I'm on the phone with Tanya, she's like, hey, like I'm going out for the weekend. I'm going out to nature for the weekend, and she'll be gone for the whole weekend, right? She's always in the car driving off somewhere. But you do, like, what does nature specifically do for you? What does being out specifically do for you? Because being in Idaho, it's a lot different from living in the Bay Area, that's for sure. But the skies are just bigger. There's no skyscrapers in the way, and to me, it looks like you can kind of like see God's creation a little bit more, right? It's hard to do that in the Bay Area, right?
Nature is therapy. Like, what coming here and snowboarding and giving my it's weird. Like, nature's a purpose, right? You're like, what's your purpose? Like, nature's part of my purpose. Like, I have to get in nature, and I'm no good to anybody if I don't have nature. And I just left Florida. My older brother has cancer, and so I went to go visit him, but I started getting really anxious and I had to leave. And I started getting anxious because I wasn't in nature. And so I believe that nature quiets your mind, right? Like, it's the place where you actually can, like you said, see God. You can be alone with your thoughts. You can let go, and because life is hard, right? Life is hard, business is hard, and you get to kind of push the limits a little bit. So I believe that nature saves lives. My brother has a nonprofit. It's about water, and his thing is water saves lives. So I think nature and water save lives. It saved our life.
So I got to ask, Tanya, you said that you felt like you were slow in the running and things like that before, but are you a fast swimmer?
Because of my web toes?
Yeah. I'm messing with you.
At my new heart. I haven't actually swam since then, but I will say that I am faster now. Like, I actually never knew what it was like to breathe properly. So I actually run at Orange Theory, and just the other night, this is so ironic, just last week, the day before Thanksgiving, I was running at Orange Theory at 90% capacity, right? And then the next morning, I ended up in the hospital thinking I was having a stroke or a heart attack. And then I spent 3 days in 2 different hospitals last week, which I'm going on my 2-year anniversary of heart surgery. But it was funny because it turns out it was actually a bulging disc that was giving me the left arm pain. But anytime you have surgery, you have to listen to your body. But the doctors were laughing at me because they were like, you're really healthy. You've had heart surgery. You've had spinal surgery. I was going paralyzed at 9 years old. I have spinal surgery. I've had toe surgery.
Yeah.
I was 2 months premature, and I was backwards heart. And they're just like, you're really, really healthy. Like, we don't even know why you're here. So my point is yes, I can run faster. Yes, I feel better. I don't work out as much as I did, only because I'm in transition of like resetting my life.
You've had a lot of life altering events happen. How has success changed for you? And the way that we typically start this is you know, um, being the first word, like big word. I called my grandpa when I was in 4th grade one time, and I was like, hey, I know how to spell quadrilateral now. He's like, do you want another big word? Entrepreneur. And here's what this is. And that word just stuck with me to this day. Like that is a core memory for me. And so until then, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But I found out that most of the time, like, entrepreneurs are broke until they really figure out how to do it, right? So
Tell me about
it was all about money. And now, I got 3 kids, and my version of success is, there's still like monetary value to that, but where that money is going to go is completely different. Success looks different for me now. The success of my kids is now my success. So, how do you define success, and how has that changed over time?
You know what? Success to me is when you have success in all areas of your life, right? Spiritually, relationships, right? Mental, physical, emotional health. I believe the success of a person when they're on their deathbed, when people have some good things to say about them, that's their legacy, right? A success to me is also just changing one person's life, right? Impacting one person, because when you help, what is Mahatma Gandhi said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. So for me, that success is getting up every time you get punched in the face, right? When my kids say, Mama, I am so proud of you. Mama, I wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for you. You know what, Mama? Because you had the courage to let go of everything and the comfort, right? Because you had the courage to go, we're going to make it happen. I don't know how, but that to me is success. Success, again, is getting up every time you get punched in the face and going, guess what? Try to hold me down now.
I was speaking a little bit earlier about like the having kids changes you,
Woo.
and it's not about you anymore, right? And the things I do are for my kids, right? The success that I'm trying to reach, the legacy that I'm trying to build the foundation on. So you had mentioned like going through that incident with your son. Where did that put you, and how do you feel about that now, knowing me knowing you and your son, and he's doing big things, like amazing things now. Like he was just on a cruise ship filming a wedding, or like that. Like he is completely won. How do you parent in those moments? Like how do you teach that to get him from where he was to completely mentally broke down, just fed up, to I'm loving life. I know he's big on snowboarding now. He's traveling I don't know if he's traveling the world, but he's at least traveling the country.
He is traveling the world. He's working with Grant Cardone's former video guy, and just travels all over the world doing fitness events and businesses and all that. And so I'm really proud of him. How do you parent from that? Well, the thing is it was a mental health thing, right? So it's very, every case is different, right? Every person is different. But I do believe that the way that I'm not going to say me, because parenting also came from, he has uncles keeping him accountable, right? Yeah. So I had to parent him with tough love, right? Meaning that, one, in this family, we work out, all right? So you think you just need to take Adderall and Adderall is going to help, or you need to take depression meds and that's your answer. Sometimes it is because of clinical depression and those kinds of things. But it's, if you're not working out, guess what? You don't need those meds. Like, do that first. we're going to keep you accountable for that. The other thing is we keep him accountable, and my daughter. So my daughter's amazing. So going back to like nature, my daughter also suffered with some mental health stuff, right? She actually she changed her degree from criminology to outdoor recreation. Okay. Like if that was a thing when I was around, I would have been taking that degree. Okay. So she's like, part of parenting through that is accepting that my son didn't want to go to college. She was like, I don't want to go to college. I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to waste your money to try to figure out who I want to be. And maybe I'll go to college one day. So parenting from that is letting your kids fail, right? Letting them follow their passion and then redirecting them. And with my daughter, I was like, are you serious? You just changed your degree? Like I am paying for this, right? But the thing is going back to like success, like as long as it makes her happy, like she doesn't even care to make a ton of money. She just wants to be in nature, and her job involves hiking and snowboarding. She works at a sporting shop and then helping other people through it. And so our thing with parenting is making sure that first and foremost, you have to be respectful of our family name. You have to respect other people, and then you have to have the courage to have hard conversations. And I think going back to my son and his business, he was a people pleaser. And he actually got, his company didn't pay him one day, and he was like, I'm going to quit, and blah, blah, blah. And me and my brothers were like, no, you're not going to quit. You're going to go in there and tell them what they need to fix. And then you're going to tell them what your parameters are. And it turned out when he was going to quit, they fired everybody, and they wanted to hire him to run the whole company as an 18-year-old. And he said, you know what, I can appreciate what you're saying, but you guys don't have good ethical business practices. And I wish I could work for you, but I can't. So part of success is also following your values, right? Don't be seduced by every opportunity.
Yep.
If you know what your values are and your boundaries are, as that person, if your values are this or this or that, don't compromise on your values, because you're always going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And I think we all can attest, like we all worked for a specific premium retailer at one point in the cellular business, and it
Telecommunication
kind of made us,
specialist,
Yeah, we were telecommunications I was the manager of a telecommunications specialist business, but it did make us sell against our ethics at some point. Like,
oh yeah,
don't bring your grandma in there, because grandma's walking away with a tablet and an iPhone. And but now, and it's true, we were very good at what we did. But now it's I don't think business is the same anymore. I think that there's like cell phone sales was kind of like the new used car salesman side of things, and I'm a big believer that I can sell anybody anything, but now I'm in the mind state of, if I can't serve you, if I can't, like, I've turned away a lot of great potential clients, like real money, life-changing money. But if I knew that it couldn't bring you the most value, and honestly, like if I wouldn't have fun doing it, like I've turned that away, and that is completely different from the person, I don't know, even 3 years ago, that would have just been like, yep, that's money, I'll do it, no problem. But now I'm in this mind state of, if I can't serve you, if I can't bring you value, then I'm only going to disappoint you, and I think that's it's a growth step for me, right? Do I wish I had them? Do I think about it sometimes? Yeah, of course, right? It's the holidays right now. I got my first snow in Idaho. Like, it's Christmas season. I want to be able to give the kids whatever they want, but there does come to that, like, not selling against your beliefs, not working for places where it brings something else out of you, and just like, hey, this is just out of character. This business makes me act out of character, I think the guys and I were just talking about this before, but like, not having money definitely doesn't bring the best version of yourself out. Like, being broke, if you meet someone when they're broke, that's the depending. Like, this is, I guess it's subjective, but yeah, not having money for someone who knows that they're destined for more and not having the success where they want to be, like, you won't meet them at their at their best, right? Like I know that when times were tough for me and my wife would come and talk to me, I'd be like, hold on just a second, like I gotta work, I gotta get this done, you know. And like has that ever happened? Has that ever happened to you in the sense of you're like, I'm driven right now, I'm on a mission, can't be bothered? But because I knowing you and your stories, you're very family oriented, and I think that's just the Islander side of us. But it seems like your family name means a lot to you, right? And because your brothers have done a great job at like hey, this is what we stand for, right? This is what we stand for. But I kind of think the same way with, like, I just had my first boy. Were we talking about this with Peggy, or was it just on our other podcast about our taking on our names, Joe?
I think we talked about it a few times.
Was it? Yeah, but like I've got girls. My girls are gonna go take another man's name one day, right? And they're going to like that. They're going to live not under another legacy, but like I've got my boy now, right? And I used to be the last Larson. Now he, as of right now, he's the last Larson, and I'm trying to do my best to build that foundation of, hey, this is what we stand for, and overall family means everything. Like we don't cross family no matter what the situation is, you know, where we always take family side, right?
That moment when you realize, like, okay, am I just hustling and am I not listening to people? My daughter has been one of my biggest teachers in life because she's a dramatically different personality than me. And she'll tell me, Mama, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. And when I was selling real estate in San Diego, my family, they tell me now, they're like, you're a totally different person. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, you're calmer. You're a spaz. You're all over the place. Like, we're always like busy. And I learned that, you know, with different personality styles, that people have different love languages, right? And even in your job, in terms of like the people that you're leading, they have different personalities and love languages. And the only way that you could be a great leader is you have to learn how to stop and how to serve and to listen to them. And she's just told me, you know what, Mama, she's called me out of my bull crap more than anything, right? And so have my brothers. And they're like, stop working. And my sister-in-law, stop working to be present. You're with your brother today and you haven't seen him in 4 months, right? That kind of thing. So being an entrepreneur is hard, but I know Gary Vee talks about the 10X and Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, just work. And I'm just like, how's that working out for your relationships? And I'm in a different mindset now. I actually like being alone. I love working. I like to just slow down and I like to say slow the Ferrari down, you know, and it has made me enjoy life a little bit more, but I'm a mess. You know, everybody has their things, right? I don't have my life together, but I have certain areas of my life together that other people don't, that I can coach on, right? Everybody is, all of my clients are my teachers. My daughter's my best teacher. Like, I'm so proud of her because she teaches me to be the softer side of.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. You know, the areas that you specialize in, because I'm a big believer that as long as you know one thing more than one person, you have the ability to teach them, right? You don't have to know everything. Like we're all still getting together, and I think that's kind of where we started off this podcast. Was like, hey, we're not where we want to be either, you know, but there are a lot of millionaires and billionaires out there telling people like, hey, all you got to do is this, and this, but they forget, like, sometimes it just seems like they're out of touch with like reality. Like, you've been up there for a long time. Like, I think you forget. You know, like it's like this older generation telling us like, back in my day, you know, I bought a house for a squirrel and 25 cents.
This thing here was $19.
Yeah, like I was a business owner and a homeowner at that time. You're like, all right, well, you know, the inflation, college, you know, like you like that kind of stuff. Like, but you. Yeah, and you had mentioned something like you had spoke about the love languages, but then also mentioned business. Like there is a love language to business, right? Like I love the 5 love languages. Like I'm a words of affirmation kind of person. Like I love to be told that I'm doing a good job, because sometimes, especially as a business owner, you just don't know, you know. And from an outsider seeing like, hey, I'm proud of you, that means the world. But in regards to business, You are a discommunication coach.
Basically, when you talk about the love languages of business, DISC is one of the love languages of business. It's basically a personality assessment that tells you what your personality is. Like, are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? You know, are you a feeler? And then what happens is, you know, when we're in business, like you mentioned something earlier, like I'm not having fun anymore. You know, a lot of times when I coach people, I will be coaching them and they're like, I'm doing this and this and this and this. And they're a real high I. So D is like you're a driver and you're driven. The I is like you're extrovert and you're social. And the S is like you're sensitive and you're feeling. And then the C is more like you're analytical and like more introverted. And I can pinpoint it right away. I'm like, I know why you are miserable and you're depressed is because you're not having any fun. And you're like, what are you doing in your life that's fun? I'm just working. I'm like, your personality is you want to be out in front of people. You want to be talking to people. But you're sitting behind a desk and you're being an engineer, right? You're not helping anybody. Or there's the person that's like the amiable, the S, that's like a servant person, and they're out trying to be a salesperson, right? It's when you know self-awareness, right? This test, it's like a 25-page test. A lot of people have had personality tests, but what they haven't had is someone like me that usually will go a coach to go over it with them and even say like even the D's, the drivers, the entrepreneurs, they come to me and they're like, I want to fire my whole team. I'm making 500,000 and I'm miserable. Let me tell you guys, I know so many people like that, right? I'm making 500,000, I'm miserable, and I'm going to fire my team because my team sucks. And all I have to do is look at their disc, and I'm like, basically, you need to fire yourself, right? You're the one that created this toxic work environment, right? Are you happy? No. I bet you're a bully, right, at home, aren't you? Yeah. Well, you're probably a bully in work, too. Like, you're going to have more peace when you accept the love languages of people, the different personalities, and you accept that we all have a role in the business. But going back to entrepreneurship, you got to know what your personality type is, right? Because then that's when the passion's there and you feel fulfilled. You know, for me, I'm not motivated by money, right? I like to make a lot of money, but I just want to help people. I want to serve people. I want to reach out and touch people. I want to see their change. Like, that's success to me. But other people are like, nope, I want to just make money. And that's okay too, if that's your freaking love language. But the thing is you got to know who you are before you can serve at a high level.
Would you recommend that they know what their team is too? Would you recommend business owners have their team take this assessment? I had a boss back in the day. He made us all take a DISC test, and then that way he's like, hey, you can't talk to this employee this way. This person, they're kind of motivated. You can just be like, hey, get up and go do this real quick for me. The other person is like, hey, you know, after you're done with this, I'm gonna, you know, there's because some people would feel attacked if I talk to Joe one way. I mean, Sean and Joe are kind of similar in personality like that. Like I can just, you know, we can tell each other the hard things, but some people need to be approached differently. And just we will talk about this in a second, but just so you guys know, Tanya is amazing at this, and she's got this line that I use all the time now. It's are you open for a coaching moment? Like, are you open for a hard conversation? Because if you're not open for it, then it's a bad time to have the conversation, right?
Just so you know, Tanya, Joe loves those moments. So if you see anything that you need to open up with him about
Joe's open for it at any time.
He loves criticism, just so you know. He leaves.
Just kidding.
I was sitting with my client and somebody came up to him and he's like, oh, you do real estate? And he's like, yeah, I do real estate. He's like, I'd love, your help. He's like, all right. He's like, yeah, here's my card. Give me a call. And then they're talking and he didn't close it. And then like, I hadn't seen him like working socially with people. And I put my hand on his shoulder. I go, Randy, are you open for a coaching moment? He says, yeah. I go, why didn't you close that? He's like, well, I normally tell him. I go, no. If someone's asking you for business, you don't give them a business card and say, here, call me. You say, what's your text right now? Okay, I'm going to text you right now. Here's my information.
Oh.
I'll hook you up. It's the new close is the 3-way text. The new close is the impact text. You know what? I'd love to connect with you. I know you're running. I'm running. I'd love to hear more. Nobody, like people put business, I lose business cards. And so the coaching moment is fun, because it helps you to have hard conversations and to receive hard conversations. But going back to what you were saying, BJ, do I recommend that? One of my favorite parts of what I do is actually doing exactly what you just said. Going in, the coach usually comes to me because they need an executive coach. And really their team needs to be coached, because a lot of times, like, leaders don't realize how amazing their team is because they don't even know their team, right? And so what I'll do is I'll do a DISC test with the coach, with the leader. I'll do a DISC test with all the team, but I go one step further. I actually bring them into a meeting, and I literally will tell them and show them what everybody's personality styles are, show them the chart of the characteristics, and I'll say, you know what? I will go over all of their strengths. And one thing that I learned that is really just like, it was a, I don't know, it was a big moment for me, like a light bulb, is I feel like I'm the voice for the entrepreneurs. Or I'm sorry, I feel like I'm a voice for the introverts. So what happens is that everybody thinks the introverts are lazy and they're insecure and they're not motivated. And every time I go into these meetings, the introverts feel so validated, right? They feel like they're worth something. And then the team starts respecting the introverts. And so there's this thing called, with leadership, and I learned this from my brothers, it's called forming, storming, norming, performing. Forming, storming, norming, performing. So when you form as a team and it's the honeymoon stage, then storming is when you're like, oh no, I just really learned what this personality is like, right? But that's when you got to kind of push through it and push through the personality styles. And then once you do, then you start norming. And then after you start normalizing, you start performing as a team. A lot of people give up in the storming stage because of their pride, because they didn't take time to get to know them, and because some people are just money hungry and greedy and they just don't care about their team.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer that people will stay at a low paying job with a great manager, a great leader, right? And they're I mean, I'm sure like, shoot, I don't like talking about where we all worked at previously, but it seems to just happen a lot because I've gained a lot of experience there. But yeah, I stuck around at that job because I loved who I worked with. I loved the culture and the team that we created, and Joe was a big part of that. But hated the job. Did it pay all the bills? Late, yeah. But at the end of the day, the leadership I had was awesome, and people will stay around at that job. But would you say that there are certain personality styles that just don't work well with each other in that DISC assessment, or can everybody be trained to, or can any leader be trained to coach and train in any style?
That's an interesting question, because not everybody's coachable, and probably 90% of the world, good percentage isn't coachable, right? Because they weren't in that, they weren't introduced to that environment. So not everybody's coachable, right? Some people, and when they are coachable, it's just temporary, because change is hard, right? Change is really hard. Like, I have a strong personality, and I'm the way I am because I grew up in an abusive, extremely abusive household. And I had to protect myself and protect my siblings. And then now I'm the middle child of 2 Green Berets. So do I have a lot of masculine energy? Yeah. But I have to figure out how to tap into the feminine, right? To do that. But to answer your question, are there certain personalities that don't work well together? Oftentimes the D's and the C's don't work together because it's an introvert and an extrovert, right? The C's are really thinking the D's, like, will you just shut up already? Like, why do you have to be center of attention? Like, you think you're all that in a bag of chips. And then the C's sitting over here like, I am so much smarter than that person. I got all these degrees, but they're the face. Like, I'm freaking making that person money, right? And so the C's a lot of times don't respect the D's. And then the D's don't respect the C's because they think the C's are weak, right? But C's, if you're a true C, you're a D in disguise. You just don't have to be center of attention. You don't have to be blurting it all out.
Yeah.
And then, like, the people that are the amiables, like the The S's, they're very sensitive, right? They cry and they want to help everybody, and they usually talk slower, right? So a lot of times the extroverts and the D's and the I's are like the extroverts that they just want to have fun, right? And they talk fast and they walk fast and they do fast. Like, we don't like slow people. Like, we finish your sentences. We will finish your sentences. So it's like literally a trained habit to let other people shine. And that's what I tell people that are D's. I go, you know what? You just need to shut up, right? And it's not because you don't have anything good to say, right? What you're doing by you not shutting up,
Yep.
you are not giving anybody else a chance to shine. And you love your team, right? And you want them to be validated, right? And you want them, no one's going to know how great they are, and they're not going to have open doors and opportunities if you don't give them a chance and empower them to actually be who God designed them to be, right? And then with the C's, like engineers and stuff, like my boyfriend's an engineer. He is so smart, but he never really speaks up. And I was like, you need to speak up. And if it's not that, you need to start a leadership group, or you need to start something. If you are not happy with where you are, you have to create that, right? But you're not going to create that because you can't get to the top alone. That's what John Maxwell says. We cannot get to the top alone. You have to get there with other people. But if other people don't know that you can actually, that how smart you are, or that you can run projects, and if you don't have the courage to speak up, then guess what? The D's like me and the I's, they're going to run all over people, and they're probably going to make a mess of things. Because the C's aren't speaking.
Sorry, Tanya, can you remind me what the acronym
D.I.S.C.
stands for one more time?
Just
DISC, right.
Yeah. So D
Acronym
is like
DISC
the
stands
driver,
for?
like your driver, you're confident, right? The S is, or the I is like you like to be like the life of the party. You want to have fun all the time, right? The S is you are like amiable, right? And then insensitive, right? You're the one that just wants us all to get along and be a team and to be a family. And then the C's are like more analytical, typically introverts, and usually like the doers, like the worker bees.
Where can any of these listeners take that? Like, can they take that on your website? Can they jump on a call with you?
So they would jump on a 15-minute call with me, and then they take the test. And so I do have like a where they take the test, and I have a 90-day program where like every 30 days I go over what their DISC profiles are, and then I set up their life reset plan for 90 days. And then from there, we, because usually if one area of your life is really out of whack, a lot of them are, right? And so I just give the plan based on their personality style. I actually have a lot of divorced families come to me. A dad that wants to communicate better with their daughter, right?
Yeah.
I have people that have teenagers that they want to communicate with, CEOs, teams. It's just a communication tool for us to understand ourselves. And it's also to validate, like everybody says, I'm an introvert and I don't speak up and I'm this and this and that. And it's like, girl, you know why you're an introvert? Because you're the one that built this company. That guy over there, he's the face. He's selling it, but it wouldn't be built without you. You have a purpose in this life.
And on that note, like this is one thing that that the guys and I were talking about too, is like our first couple episodes were kind of just like, honestly, just me rambling, and that's just kind of comes with being a friend of mine, because I do believe, like, I am that person. And we were talking about, like, hey, like once we all find our role, then everything's going to play correctly. And I think that goes into any business. That goes into, hey, like once, like, I love sports analogies, right? Like a quarterback can't be trying to do the role of a wide receiver. It just isn't possible. But if everybody knows their role, then success, right? Like it will only lead to that. So where can they reach you? Where can like where I definitely want to help plug some stuff. What do you got going? What are we pushing towards? And definitely that DISC assessment, because if you guys have not taken a DISC assessment before,
But if you haven't had a coach go over it with you, because I could also go over it with them and then have a 30-day follow-up, I can help save marriages, save teams, save yourself, from yourself. So the DISC is something I love. One thing that I am launching is a new keynote and a workshop, and it's called It's Your Lucky Day, right? We talked about It's Your Lucky Day came from my doctor in biblical. It's called It's Your Lucky Day. Reduce stress, improve health and happiness with the Life Reset Blueprint. So that is a keynote that I go out and I teach people, how to create the 2.0 version of themselves or whatever version with, the Life Reset Blueprint. And then from there, I take them into a Life Reset Mastermind. And it's a John Maxwell Mastermind. It's the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. So it goes into the law of the mirror, the law of reflection, the law of consistency, the law of pain. A lot of people don't talk about pain and how pain has helped them gain a lot. But we talk about how the pain has been constructive.
Oh yeah.
But how do we minimize more pain in our lives, right? How do we clean up less messes? Because usually when people come to me, they're like, I'm a hot mess. It's literally what they say. I'm a hot mess. Okay, well, I'm going to help you have more peace in your life. Want more peace? Yeah. I'm going to help you with a life reset. You want that? Yeah. And we're actually going to clean up less messes. How about that? So they can find me at tanyavanrickley.com. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and they can hire me for keynotes and then workshops. And then I also have a Life Reset Blueprint. But eventually it'll be a book, and I hope for it to be a TED Talk. So that's my vision.
Nice.
that's so awesome. And you guys can go into the description in the video. We will drop all of the links, and Tanya, I'll circle back with you to make sure that I've got all of the correct ones, so we're sending them to the right place. But I'm telling you, definitely take her up on that offer of the DISC assessment, because it's one thing to just go online and take the test. It's another to really understand what that means, and maybe even have your partner take it too, right? I think that's I have the 5 love languages. My wife and I were reading, and it helps. Right, you want to know, like, hey, like if I'm just giving you gifts all the time, or if I'm telling you how awesome you are, but that's not how you receive the love, think of that in the business aspect. I think that's really, really important as well.
Well, and also when partners take it, it's fun to have like a consultation with me, because I get to say, you know what, you need to do, like, you're amazing in so many ways, but you need to stop disrespecting him, right? And he's just like, finally somebody said that, And I'm like, and you need to step up as a man. And when you come home, you need to compliment her, right? You need to make some time for sexy time, right? Because it's the love and respect wheel. Like, if there's no love, there's no respect. And so that's why when I do the DISC test for couples, it's fun, because everything they've been saying you haven't been doing, I get to say, you haven't been doing this.
Yeah. It's that third party affirmation, right? Where it's just like, yeah, what she said.
So many people have told me, I've gotten more out of your sessions than the 30 years I've done in therapy. And my daughter has had more confidence from your session than the 3 years she's had from therapy, because it's science, and then I give you a plan.
What are your daily non-negotiables? And I'm really excited to hear this from you specifically, because I know that you're all about routine.
Yeah, I like to have routine, but I wish I could I'm always working on dialing it in more. One of my daily non-negotiables is worship music. After my divorce, I learned that I could go and talk to everybody and mail bash and do all these things. And trust me, I have my moments. I still do sometimes. We have our moments when we're not our best selves. But worship music, every morning I say, Alexa, good thing I just unplugged her, Alexa, play worship music. The other thing I have is I have a Bible that's in my kitchen, and it's not hidden, right? It's not in a drawer. It's nowhere. It's there, and it's literally open, right? And I'll walk over to my Bible and I'll just look, and so many times God is speaking to me and humbling me and telling me, be a better person, right? Or I can feel your pain, kind of thing. So God, the Bible. I also have movement, right? Move more to be more, move your body. move and exercise, because exercise has been proven to heal, depression, and to, the rate of the relapse rate, right, is really low when you're focusing on exercise, even if you have to take meds. So my non-negotiable is that. One of my non-negotiables right now that's been a non-negotiable for me for kind of like my life is toxic people and toxic environments. Like, I can't do it. And because it makes me toxic, right? And it makes me want to be a person that I don't want to be. Puts me in survival mode, right? When people are toxic, I go back to I got to defend myself. I got to defend them. And I feel very uneasy. And I can cut people off like that. Or I'll say, you know what? I love you, but I'm going to put you on a shelf because you don't align with where I'm going right now. And you are the sum total of the 5 closest friends. And I know you're one of my favorite people in the world, but your choices right now I don't agree with them. I'm not telling you what to do, but I have to protect myself. So my non-negotiables are God, worship music, working out, and not letting toxic people in my lives or toxic environments in general. I can't do it.
I love that. I think that really goes to show self-awareness, to really just evaluating your circle. And I don't know if it was Sean that gave me this word. Oh, I got a text. But I don't know if it was Sean that gave me this, but auditing your circle is huge, and just kind of knowing who you're around. Actually, I think it was Zach, who we're gonna have on the podcast soon anyway. But I know that Arizona house it's full of just a bunch of inspiring people. But yeah, auditing your circle and just being self-aware for yourself too. Hey, call yourself on your BS sometimes. You can't be oblivious to oh yeah, I'm awesome all the time, and it's everybody else around me, right? So I think definitely take Tanya up on that DISC assessment.
Take me up on the DISC, because there are some days where I'm like, hey, I still talk to somebody, but I have nothing good to say. Or they'll call me and be like, hey, how's it going? Hey, you can talk to me, but I'm letting you know right now, I have nothing good to say. I'm just giving you a warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the podcast so far, when you were talking about what does success look like for me, and you go, success looks like accountability, success looks like kindness, success looks like my character and my values. I've never heard anybody put it in those terms. Obviously you want to have good morals, good character, and good value, but to sit there and call those things, that's what being a successful person is to me. It's just, damn, that's.
Thank you. Thank you. And I haven't been perfect in my life, and there's things I'm not proud of, but I will say that I learn from my mistakes. When you can learn from your mistakes, that's also success.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, that's the definition of insanity, right? If you're doing the same things over and over, and you're getting the same result. But yeah, learning from those and not making it twice. So I think that's huge. Sean, you want to ask number 5, or Joe, you want to ask number 5? This is my favorite one out of all of them.
I think it's just, what does getting off go mean to you?
Getting off go. Getting off go to me means be ready for some hard stuff. Be ready to cry, right? Be ready to pony up, right? Getting off go is not worrying about what other people think you should be or do, right? Everyone has this, I think you should be this, and I think you should be that. No, you have to get started. Just like I said with my Ironman, you do not know what you're going to accomplish unless you get started. And I think I heard this the other day. Everybody wants success, and they're looking for this big, they just killed it in a week, right? But they don't realize success is all the little things. And getting off go is taking one action to maybe with BJ, right? Hey, let's work on your logo, right? I'll tell you, getting off go for me, just working on my brand and working on my logo, that little thing makes me actually feel professional. Do that, right? And get some things dialed in, and have some systems that you're proud of, and then build on those systems. So I think just getting off go is don't be afraid of failure, and pick a day, right? Get started and take imperfect action.
I love that. I think that's amazing. So everybody, we're gonna wrap this up, but be sure to go to tanyavanrickley.com. Tanya, VAN Rickley, but you don't have to worry about that because the description has all of her websites. If you have a Calendly link or anything, I'll definitely plug that in there so they can definitely jump on your calendar. But yeah, thank you so much for jumping on. I know we kind of planned this last minute, but I really appreciate you taking the time. It's the holiday season, and thank you so much. So be sure to go ahead and check that out at TanyaVanRickley.com. We're so grateful for you, and also you have a program launching soon.
Yeah, so that would be on movementleadershipgroup.com. Movementleadershipgroup.com. I'll probably have it on TanyaVanRickley.com, and that is my keynote. And then the workshop, that is the It's Your Lucky Day, Reduce Stress, Improve Health and Happiness with the Life Reset Blueprint. And if that's not their thing, then they could just do a DISC test for me. Or, of course, I'd love to do my keynote.
And at the end of the day, all you have to do is Google her name. She's everywhere.
Beware. You'll see trucker hats. You'll see crazy videos. You'll see, you know what? Go look at me and you will actually see this girl. She's actually the epitome of get and not go because there is nothing super polished. It's just, you can see the evolution of it.
Yeah. As we were going through, I went through and watched and I was like, that's the first thing I thought was
I
was just like, dude, she's just getting up and doing the damn thing. This is killer. Yeah. It's the first thing I thought.
Just to touch on the the social media side of things, because I always got to give my little input there. That's my business. But Tanya being one of my first clients, or my first client, she sorry if you can hear the dog in the background. My wife got a puppy for herself and ruined her Christmas gift. But nonetheless, I told Tanya, I said, hey, we're gonna post twice a day on your Instagram reels. I think she was getting 55, 60 views per. Just consistency. Her fourth video that we posted, 14,000 views. All because she was just out there giving free value, right? So she's not hard to find. Just take the effort or go to the description. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell because we do drop videos weekly. And thank you so much. Go get off, go.